The more I seem to try to do it myself in the process by going the cheapest, it usually doesn't pay off. You can have some fear, right? There's always going to be some fear. It's thinking differently and understanding what really makes a difference. The second that thing's working, it's let's scale. And that's how they get wickedly wealthy, by doing it that way. Why don't you fire off the next one, Mr. AI? Craig?
Can you share some case studies from the $1 Million Agency book related to telefunnels?
I don't want to get too deep into the weeds with stuff that's in the book, because my hope is that you'll go out and grab it. If not, shoot, send us an email. Ask for it. Maybe we'll sign one and send it over. But really, we do go into case studies. We have examples. We have things that you can do on the sales side, things that you can do on the service side, trading, hiring. We have all of the different components of a successful agency. To tell you the truth, can't remember any specific examples, but I do appreciate your question, Mr. AI Craig. Why don't we move on to the next one?
Do you have any real-world examples of agencies that have successfully implemented telefunnels?
Of course. I mean, it started with Mr. Jason and I, right? We ran the ultimate test. Mr. Jason went first. He learned it, figured it out. He spent the most time perfecting it and really understood the math. I remember the first time talking to him, he was talking about everything, the whole process, the telefunnel. He was so excited. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, that's a lot. There's a lot to that. But I needed to know more, right? I needed to understand it. And so I watched him and I talked with him all the time. This is even before we started the podcast. And then I said, hey, I know that you're trying to optimize this thing over there. Why don't we get the rest of the answers from agents to do the podcast? So we started doing the podcast, started talking to agents, and over, it was the same thing. They weren't calling it telefunnel. They were calling it their sales funnel. But we coined the term telefunnel because it is a funnel, but it's not like an online funnel, right? Because there's the phone involved. And it's critical in this world today for people to give over their credit card and their checking account information. They want to feel good about talking to somebody. At least now. Is it going to be that way forever? Maybe, maybe not. But when it's not, then we're going to be looking at other ways to do it, right? It's one of the reasons why my friend AI Craig is here. Yep. Because, hey, we're exploring other opportunities that are out there and none of it's there yet. So I'm not too concerned, but we're ahead of the curve in knowledge about it, right? And I would encourage everybody that's listening to this to get ahead of the curve in knowledge when it comes to ChatGPT or any of the other LLMs, Anthropic, Llama, the Google ones, Minstrel. So that's important. But other real world examples, I mean, hundreds. We have hundreds, if not thousands of people that have executed on the things they've learned. Whether they learned it from the Telefunnel podcast, which there's a whole other thing, Telefunnel, separate thing, and it's older, but the basics are there. I'm going to be delivering a lot of updated material regarding that and really the whole thing, bear it all. We have captive carriers, we have independents, we have large, we have small, all kinds of different agencies of all different size, one-man shop to 10 people, to 20 people. And we've had people that have scaled tremendously following the things that we've talked about. And so it's been a lot of fun to help people talk through that thing, especially when they're part of the community and we're able to interact. That's real cool. But we've seen it outside too. As other players enter the market and realize that this is the only way to do it, of course, there's competitors trying to duplicate the system, trying to do the same thing. And from what I see, nobody comes close. But that's all right. I'll take it as a compliment.